All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, Scott Latif Live. Welcome to today's recap. It is Wednesday. This morning, the futures were down 8 to 10 handles. We figured, who knows, maybe we could be pressured. Who knows, maybe the bears might have a little bit of power. And you know what? It didn't happen. We were below yesterday's low, and there were about 2 or 3 different decision spots where you could have made adjustments in order to cover shorts if you were short, or even look for some good longs because things developed as the day went by. So this morning we talked about the pivot, like 1763 in the S&P, which is the prior day low. In the spiders, it was 176, I think, 35-ish. And we opened below it, we reclaimed it. That was a spot to say, okay, let me figure out what's next and how committed you are to whatever it is you are doing. And you know, you look today at the spiders, we'll go right to it, and you'll see the chart. All right, here's that upper range. Okay, this has been the trend we've been following for most of 2013. Tested it here, tested it there, broke below it a little bit right there. Had a few different type of corrective activities, you know, where we pulled in, what, 4 to 5%. Not even get into that. I'm going to just get into today because, you know, we've been talking about this recent trend since making the red dog reversal right here. Where you had your red dog reversal, you then had your powerful move showing you appetite to it as we broke above this descending channel here. Okay, then you had your digestion above it. So with that being said, you know, let me get this off of here. Your digestion, come on, it's like stuck. The line that won't quit. Okay, anyway, so there was your digestion above it, and then it flagged again, continued, and then we took out the prior high and never came back below it. So with that being said, more recently, this was a spot that was a little bit tricky when things started to weaken. You saw that Thursday engulfing bar to be reclaimed by Friday. And then on that day is another day where you could have made some choices to cover. We talked about if the bears had any power, it should never have reclaimed 1760 and never reclaimed it with some authority. And then we just digested. So you take a closer look at today where this was. Okay, this was the prior day low. This was 1762. All right, I put up pivots on Twitter and in the virtual trade floor all over the place to try and help you guys navigate. Open below it, reclaimed it. That was one spot to figure out if you wanted to cover or get long. And then here was your next spot when we crossed this previous high, which was at 1775. So with that said, I've been trying to be in 4, 5, 6 longs throughout this process. I think I went net short last Thursday. On Friday, put on the XLF, put on a few things, you know, and if you're on the virtual trading floor, you've seen me navigate it. And then yesterday we had a chat, you know, if you were a VTF subscriber, we had a Q&A for an hour, and they're like, why are you always short the spiders? I'm like, I'm short the spiders as a hedge at different times just in case. I'm like, tomorrow what I might do, if we were to trade above 177.60, cover my spiders, buy them. So again, the way you use the VTF is watching me execute on the plan. I covered them, went long, and then on the close, as you look here, we go to the spiders real quick, I sold them. So with that being said, you know, there was a little bang for the buck, double dipping, having 6, 7, 8 positions, and you know, taking the spiders, which gave you a nice day one continuation to Friday. You know, you take everything else out of the way, and all you have here is a bull flag continuation. Take everyone else's opinions, everything out of the way, and there you go. So with that being said, whatever, it's at new highs. Question is, what'd you do, and how'd you get involved? So, and today we talked about high beta names. A few of them worked, a few of them didn't. Google, probably the most quality name out there since earnings, right? Talked about how it did not come and test the earnings gap, so that was powerful. It actually, you know, held higher for the majority of it. And then I think on the price point sheet or my note, we talked about how 1,017, 18 would be a good buyable pivot. Look where it closed. Okay, next objective will be to take out these highs. So with that being said, I don't see why it wouldn't. Okay, because again, quality name, earnings are behind it. This is a little sticky today. Technically, it's acting very well. And you know, you look at something like Priceline, and it shows you that it could happen. Priceline is now above 1,100. So with that said, some of these can be sustainable. People, the shorts are like, oh, it's just going to push through and fail. You know what? Priceline didn't. I'm not in Priceline. I'm in Google. But bottom line is, this is showing you it could be sustained and can continue. So with Google, we'll see what happens. We'll see how we open tomorrow. If it opens down, maybe it goes from negative to positive through today's high, or if it opens up, we'll see how it handles that area. But all in all, something good to focus on. Apple was weaker, out of play. Still tried not to be enamored with it today. It's still hanging around. Maybe it wants its own day in the sun. Maybe, who knows what's going to happen next year, except for you could be in some. And one of these days, maybe it'll wake up above 525 and continue. But right now, it's been lethargic, and something could happen here soon. There was some news about Italy and taxes that they think is owed back. I don't know exactly why it lagged, but that's why you have multiple positions on. Some guys caught LinkedIn, almost did a little bit of a red dog reversal, where you had the prior pivot, which was right here. Okay, and it couldn't break below, and then it traded above this lower area. So nice little trade there. Got to give it to Sperling. He was all over Facebook. Nice move. We talked about this level going across, okay, which was this point of reference. I covered my short on this day, okay, 2 days ago. Haven't really visited. I traded a once long yesterday. Didn't do much with it today. And it gave you a nice move. Here's your little descending channel here also on Facebook now. In the morning note, or the morning call, we talked about 47.30. This was our lower area. If the bears had any control, it would stay below then. So if you were an uncommitted short and still short from here or from this reversal up here, you could have said to yourself, okay, I'm going to cover if it takes back 47.25. And if you didn't, now you're scratching your head saying, what am I going to do here now on a day one when it's at 48.71? Could have saved yourself $1.50. $1.50, or that's a nice size percentage move here. I don't know exactly what percentage that is right there, but pretty nice. So with that being said, you can have an idea if you're just opinionated now and say, well, I think Facebook's going lower no matter what, then you're just going to stick through it. If you were playing it for further follow through to the downside, when it took back 47.25, you probably should have covered. I know Mark and some of the guys on the floor were playing along. I just avoided it because it wasn't my trade. Even something like Zynga perked up a little bit today. I did not go back to this, but all in all, this is a pretty darn potent day. Traded above this lower pivot. It's right now back at resistance. I know it's failed many times there, but it does look as if it can continue. You go to your weekly chart here, and it's just starting to look actually pretty darn good. It's been here for a long time. So either you sit on it as one of your positions and let it work out, or you try and get a trade here and there. Today was a day that you probably could have made a decent percentage if you were looking at it. I wasn't looking at it. Some guys on the VTF called it out a few times, but whatever. Let's see what Yelp did today. Yelp still hanging around. I guess if the bears did have complete control, they would have kept it in the bottom third of this, and now it looks as if it's taking back more than almost half of this these two bars. So if it were to squeeze through here, I think that short is off the table for now. If just on this bar alone it did this small red dog reversal, you could have covered after this 2 down days, not knowing what would happen here. But that's up to you. The banks. Okay, so we talked about on Friday about if rates go higher, the banks are a good spot. On the VTF, you saw that I went long XLF on Friday, and I went along Bank of America on Monday when they were actually red, and now I've been holding it for multiple days. So, it's showing you how you could be with some things for a few days, and some things a day and a half. It's all relative, whatever you want to do. I'm going to try and stay with it for a while. So you look at the XLF, you look here. Seems as if it's getting close to making new highs. With that said, that area is coming right in here. I got a little wishy-washy. Halfway into the bar, but it held where it had to. Now above this level could be a new highs. Bank of America, to me, showed relative strength early and is looking good. This was when it cleared this descending channel with authority right there, and then it hovered for a session or so, and then today flexed its muscles again, took out this prior flag and closed on the highs, and now it seems like it's coming back to the 15-ish area. It's got to, I guess, get through this first, which is another obstacle. But all in all, looking good. Been in a nice space for a long time. We've talked about how I think in 2014, I think it gets to 17, 18, or maybe even higher. I don't know exactly what I said, but all in all, if you still have this in the drawer, congratulations. It's been multiple times to add, to trade around it, and now it looks good again. Morgan Stanley also looks like best in breed here, where it could make a move to highs. So that one is strong. And there's, you can look at the other banks too, but they're not as set up. I want to talk a little bit about Target, because Target, a name that I've been looking at, that I've lost money probably 3 different times on. And the old Red Dog would have said, that stock is horrendous, I'm not going to play it. It got me good the last few times. I was talking about, I think yesterday, that I was going to tell my wife never to go shopping there again. And finally, today, it was ready to go. And it went, right? Look at that. Okay, I think I did the recap, and we showed you how I bought it here and got hurt. Bought it here, got hurt. Yesterday, I added and I just sold it. I got stopped out. And then this morning, with the Macy's news, people on the VTF like, it's Red Dog, Target's at 66. This time, I pulled the plug very fast, said, I will try it again. And look where it closed. Made back most of the money that I lost in this area. Now we'll see if there's any kind of follow-through. I don't have as much as I had intraday because Walmart's tomorrow morning. But all in all, nice, clean move. Right in here also, we talked about if you wanted exposure to Target for the longer term, it's a quality name, and if you sold it when it broke this ascending channel up here, you had the luxury of rebuying it back there. JCPenney's looks decent. It's not the same type of quality, but you do have a lower level situation here where this is your next price point. So if it were to trade through here, I think that you can get that move back towards 950-ish. We'll see what happens with Walmart. Overall, this is when I started looking at this and it got constructive, right when it broke above the 720. Here was another nice trade, and now it looks like it's showing some commitment again. What else is going on in Traderland here? Let's see what Amazon looks like. Amazon engulfed this lower area. Looks okay. Holding in there, not as strong as Google because it came into the gap. Baidu. It's, hanging around, doesn't look so great. I think it needs time. Solar stocks did pretty well today. They've been very strong. First Solar, that's where my attention was early. That's when it went from negative to positive first. And look how upper, like the 8-day moving average has been in control of this. So this has been very strong. CSIQ is the solar that came out in numbers, and we talked about in the VTF. If it were to trade above this 30, it could get frisky, and it got pretty frisky. That's what helped the solar move. Solar City's lagging a little bit because I think there's just some negativity around Elon Musk and this and that, but I think over time it could fill this gap up into this area. So far, so good. It's looking okay, just not as strong as the other ones. Tesla itself, I came in long it and it kind of failed, and there's some talk that they had a fire in one of their plants there. There were fire engines and blah, blah, blah. Here is, this is not looking so great down here. You would say this is pretty much a bear flag where here's your pole, there's your flag, and some might look for some continuation to the downside. We'll see what happens, if what gets rectified out there, if it was real or not for tomorrow's open. But all in all, not the same Tesla that we traded for 6-7 months. Things always change. Let's see what Netflix is doing. I don't think it was in play that much today. They're kind of holding around, so perhaps tomorrow we'll see if there's any attention on this. If it were to break above this, 344-ish or 345-ish, it's nice and tight. Just wasn't out there today, and doesn't have to be in play every day, but we'll see. That could be a different setup. So all in all, today, it doesn't matter what you had on the brain coming in. We opened down. We had a few different adjustment points along the way. Again, yesterday's low. Then we took out the pivot high. You had time to get in the banks. Lots of things developed in high beta land. I know Apple still didn't go yet, but Google was great. Bank of America was the out-of-performer bank, and then finally Target went with with Macy's as a catalyst. So a lot of dots to connect and T's to cross, and all you had to do is have an open vision of it and a plan, and then execute on it as the market confirmed it. Cisco's out. I'm not sure what they exactly did. Tomorrow we have some retail numbers. You have Yellen getting a confirmation tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. All in all, lots to do. If you don't have opinions, if you have quick feet, and you're putting your tactics to work. If you're a macro investor, you know what, go back to the beach and just let things work out because you haven't broke a sweat in 2 years. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a good night.